then some players that have just returned to Hotspur away yesterday, I believe. Marcos Senesi has rocked up, waiting for his teammates. There you have it. Drinking his yerba mate tea.
Ever had it?
No, I've never had it. I was just speaking to you off stream about it, saying I would really like one. They look tasty. But yeah, I was just looking now. I think I'm going to order myself some.
Yeah, all the South Americans is all the rage with them, so it must be good. Must be good.
Yeah, but fantastic from Marcos Senesi, because obviously he played in the World Cup final, which was July the 19th, and he wasn't due back until, well, probably another week's time. Week and a half's time. So he's rocked up early at Hotspur away, which shows great commitment.
Yeah, I'm delighted about that, because obviously he's got a big fight on his hands, you know, with Van Hecke, Van der Ven, Dancer as well as competition for that centre-back role. It's not going to be easy, getting as many minutes as he was getting at Bournemouth, that's for sure. So he's clearly come in with a purpose. He wants to make sure he's showing a willingness, he's back early, and I think that probably also shows his excitement about being at Tottenham as well, the fact he wants to come back early, or he is back early. So that's really, really great to see, really great to see.
Yeah, so there's Senesi, as you can see, at Hotspur Way, going through his training in the gym. And as you can see there as well, a couple more players have rocked up. Rodrigo Bentancur pictured there, speaking to Marcos Senesi.
Who was pictured? Where is he? Oh, there he is, yeah.
And also Pape Matar Sarr. If you scroll down, Pape Matar Sarr back at Hotspur Way with Rodrigo Bentancur. I mean, I don't know why they've had extended leave, but they have. But they're back now.
So they've had extended leave, and then they've come back the same time as Senesi, who was played in the World Cup final.
Yeah,
same
crazy,
day,
isn't it?
But there you have it. But yeah, it's good to have them back. But we'll have to wait and see what the future holds for both of them. Obviously, we'll talk about Sarr prospective moves. Nothing really strongly linked to Bentancur, but there are suggestions if an offer comes in, Tottenham will consider it. So it's going to be interesting to see whether they remain come the end of the window.
Yeah. So Roberto De Zerbi has done this press conference, like I said. He's given us a bit of team news going into the game tomorrow. First up on James Maddison, obviously hasn't featured in pre-season as of yet, and he says, James has a small problem. I don't want to take any risks, especially at this part of the season, especially for James, because he suffered a long injury last year. Obviously, we know he was out with the ACL. But yeah, him having a small problem is not exactly what you want to hear going into the season. You would have thought that he would be coming into this pre-season, especially because he wasn't at the World Cup. He'll get a lot of minutes in his legs in these games, but he hasn't featured, and I believe he's not training either.
Yeah, has been pictured in training, has he? So that has got to be a worry. I've seen a lot of people obviously showing their concern on social media about the fact that he's having these small problems. We haven't seen him. I think, considering you cast your mind back to the back end of last season, he's coming back from the ACL, he has those, cameos off the bench. You thought that was like a really good platform to him to come into pre-season fit and firing, raring to go. I'm not saying it's anything due to him. Unfortunately, when you've had an ACL, other little issues can kind of show themselves. I think we've seen that with a lot of other players with ACLs. It doesn't just affect the knee, it can affect other parts of your body that obviously have been neglected over the past year. So it's going to be a difficult time for Maddison. This is what I've been kind of saying about Tottenham's number 10 position. I love Maddison, I love Decky, I love Javi, but who can we really rely on any of them in this coming season? That's the big question. And if not, what should we do about that? Do we need to dip in again into that position? Because Maddison, I've got a feel. I'm not saying he's going to be unavailable for the whole season. I'm sure he might even be back when we get to London, and maybe he'll be back fit for the start of the season. I don't doubt that. But can we rely on him to play significant minutes for a majority of games over the course of a season when he's had such a big injury? Is this kind of, him having these small issues during the season and maybe having to be managed, and maybe he's going to sit certain weeks out because of small issues and like that's going to keep cropping up? Is that going to keep happening? And I wouldn't be surprised if it is. So that is definitely a concern a lot of fans have. So it's going to be, I don't know what Tottenham should do about that situation. Do we need we probably do need another number 10. I think we have been linked with these kind of 9.5s, haven't we? So maybe that's a view of taking some minutes off Maddison in that number 10 position.
Yeah, look, I think Gallagher is definitely going to be utilised there this season, in my opinion. I think, we've seen him being utilised there a lot under De Zerbi, and I think he likes him there. And there is the prospect of Luca Williams-Barnett as well. I mean, in the open training, apparently in the Rondo, he was the only youth player that was involved in it. I don't know if you can read anything into that, but De Zerbi clearly likes him. Is he going to be used as an option in this coming season? If he is, then that's another one that can potentially play in the 10. But with James Maddison, we always know, like, even without coming off the back of an ACL, he's always susceptible to injury, isn't he? Every season he gets an injury that keeps him out for an extended period of time. So with him not training coming into this season, it is a massive concern for me. And obviously it's been reported that he's going to be given the captaincy as well. So you really want an available captain. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's hope when they get back to London, he can get on that training pitch and start to have a few minutes into the coming season. But coming off the back of an ACL and not training too much and not playing too much, is he going to be at full sharpness come that game against Brentford?
Yeah, it's hard to imagine he would be, isn't it? The hope was he was, really going to have a big part of. Maybe he still will with the games coming up. Maybe not the Chelsea game, but the other games coming up. And obviously, De Zerbi is taking an ultra cautious approach. That's what he's been saying. So I understand that, but I was really hoping, at the start of pre-season, we were going to see Maddison on the pitch, looking a bit more like the Maddison we know, from pre-ACL. Obviously, it's going to take a while, probably, for him to start showing that consistently. But in terms of when we start seeing that Maddison on a consistent basis, I mean, I do still find it hard to imagine that's going to be game week 1 of the season. It's going to be that,
which will be very frustrating. It will be, but let's see what plan De Zerbi has for us.
It's not really. Can you really be frustrated with Maddison himself? So what?
I'm not frustrated with him, just with the situation.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's just about how we manage that. And at the moment, we're not really linked with any number 10s. But as you said, those other options. But then again, it's a 17-year-old, and then it's Gallagher who, he can play the number 10, but he's not my kind of number 10.
He says he doesn't look at the age of the player; he looks at the quality of the player, and the quality of the player looks top.
He does,
so
but
see.
Is it top for a team who De Zerbi wants challenging for Champions League? That's the question.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what De Zerbi thinks about that. In terms of Mateus Fernandes, he says it's the same situation with Mateus. It's not the right time to take risks. We'll work again when we're back in London. So it's suggested that once he gets back to London, he will be involved in training and hopefully get minutes in the Getafe game. Yeah,
and that'll be great. He showed little kind of glimpses of his magic in the other pre-season games so far, and I think there was a lot of panic when these rumours started flying around about injuries and knee injuries and all this kind of stuff, but it doesn't sound to be that serious. I mean, he's been pictured smiling and stuff, and he's been on the pitch, like not training, but around the squad, so it doesn't seem anything serious for sure. So we await to see him back in London. It's a shame he's going to miss the Chelsea game, because I was kind of looking forward to seeing him in that game, but it is what it is.
Let's get into some transfer news. There's been a bit coming out about Pape Matar Sarr, obviously just returned to Hotspur away. Himothy says that he understands that Villa are preparing to send a bid to Tottenham for Pape. The club hold a serious interest in the player. Personal terms are not expected to be an issue. There's also a German club who hold an interest in Pape Matar Sarr. SZY said Villa are the club, the interested club, and Pape wants to go. So a few days ago or last week, SZY tweeted that there is a club that are interested in Pape, and he's just confirming now it is Aston Villa. And a Villa ITK saying this is being kept quiet, but all parties are waiting for Villa to prepare an offer. Finances are tight, so it needs to get the green light from UEFA or the Premier League. Player similar situation to Manzambi, which could mean a sale is in the offing for Aston Villa. Sarr believes he's joining Aston Villa. So hopefully this one can kind of gather a bit of pace now. He is in London, so obviously a deal can get done. Maybe it even gets done before the players return. Who knows? But I think it'd be a really good move for him, to be honest. And I think it's one that suits all parties.
I mean, considering a week ago there was a report saying there's no clubs interested in him, Tottenham aren't getting the interest for, if he got a move off the back of that kind of report to a team like Aston Villa, who obviously want to be competing for Europe. That's a great move for him. And I do think there's obviously a very good player in there, and his development has stagnated. But if he can carry on, at the point of where we saw there was a really good player playing fairly consistently at some point, full of energy, full of running, could actually a good technical passer, was actually a bit of a danger around the box as well. Like, I think Villa could potentially be getting a very, very good player if they develop him in the right way. And Unai Emery, I think, is quite good at getting the best out of his central midfielders. So in terms of both sides keeping it quiet, I find it interesting why Spurs would want to keep it quiet, because I would have thought they would want to drum up some interest. So if people hear that Villa are interested, maybe other clubs might join in. But maybe it's under the instruction of Villa, keep it quiet, and maybe for whatever reason they want to make sure no one knows about it, so they get it done, and then they're not having the competition. And if Tottenham are getting a fee they're happy with, then maybe they're just happy to keep it quiet. Maybe that's the sense. But how much do you reckon we're talking here with if Villa are in for a Premier League club?
I reckon about 20 mil, something like that. You're saying Villa finances are tight and everything like that because of the UEFA and Premier League rulings. So I don't think it's going to be a big fee. I think it will probably be around 20 million in my opinion.
Yeah, I think 25. I think around 25.
So yeah, we'll see what happens, how fast that progressed. We brought you the news about Manor Solomon a few days ago about West Ham's interest, and that's been confirmed by ex-West Ham employee. West Ham are exploring a loan deal for Manor Solomon. And again, I think we said at the time, it's a deal that probably suits all parties. I think he'll do really well at West Ham. We saw when he was at Leeds, completely smashed out the Championship, was probably one of the best players in that league. And I think he'll do the same for West Ham. Yeah,
obviously he might be a bit disappointed the fact that he has to move back down to the Championship after showing that he's probably too good for that league when he was there, and he was definitely good enough to be in a Premier League team or a top team. But the reality is, in the other loan spells now since that Leeds one, it hasn't really gone quite right for him. So off the back of that, maybe teams in top leagues are less likely to take a risk on him. I think West Ham, it allows him to stay in London. Also, it gives him that potential of getting back into the Premier League fairly quickly. And if he does really well and they really like him, then all of a sudden in a year's time he could be starting for a Premier League team. So I think it probably if you look at it in that lens, it probably works for him. I think West Ham could probably pay the fee that we want for him. I think for West Ham as well, getting a winger who is going to smash it out for them in the Championship, as you say, I think it's a great signing from their point of view. So I think, I completely agree. It's just one that ticks every box, isn't it?
Yeah, look, he's had a really good pre-season, to be fair. I think he's been one of Spurs' best players during pre-season. And look, it says exploring a loan deal. I wonder if that'll be with an option, with an obligation. Maybe if they get promoted, it turns into an obligation. That would be that would suit everyone, I think. If they get promoted, give it an obligation. And I guess it'll probably be somewhere in between like the £5 to £10 million mark, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think for sure there'll have to be some sort of clause in there to make it permanent. I'm pretty certain about that.
Next up, we talk about Omar Marmoush. Some people suggesting this guy is the guy that De Zerbi was speaking about in terms of the bomber. SZY says that Spurs hold a really firm interest in Marmoush. My info has come from sources inside his camp, and Spurs have discussed the idea with Manchester City. He has suggested in the past, SZY, saying that Man City won't sell us both Marmoush and Savinho. So make of that what you will. I don't know what to take from that. Does that mean Savinho's on hold now? Does it mean we're going to advance on Marmoush? I mean, what do you reckon?
I reckon that right now they're looking for a replacement for Savinho if they want to let him go. So I'm assuming the probably same applies to Marmoush.
So Dan Kilpatrick said on Last Word on Spurs last night, says the stuff about the replacement isn't true, and they already have the replacement in Semenyo.
So what's the hold up then?
I don't know.
Maybe it is a difference in price. Who knows? I would assume they wouldn't want to let both of them go because that's two good attacking players, and they would have to have serious coverage coming in to let go of those two. But if they do get two replacements, maybe they would be willing to let, or is it a fact they don't want to let two go to one club, to Spurs specifically because, are we a threat potentially? But I don't know if don't think City see us in that way. So
I don't think City saw Arsenal in that way. Then they sold
Yeah.
Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko to them, and I think after that they said, yeah, we're not
it's
doing
true.
that again.
Yeah, they did. That is true. That is true. That did happen. So maybe they want to learn from their lessons and decide, actually, we're not going to help Premier League clubs out too much with that. But obviously, Marmoush's his side, that you got to take that into account. How much would he want to move to Tottenham? Are we one of the only clubs willing to put the money down that would take to get Marmoush? Do they want him out and to a replacement, or are they happy to have him in the squad? Do they see a use for him? So all those questions obviously go into the answer about whether we would be able to get him or not. I wouldn't completely rule it out, but also I get the feeling Maresca might want to give him a go. I also get he might get more minutes next season. He might be more trusted if he's being told that.
Where is he getting those minutes?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, it's difficult, especially with Cherki there now. But there's a lot of games though. It's like 60 games.
It's true. There is a lot of games, but I think Omar Marmoush, he has a few things have come out about Omar Marmoush saying he's not happy with the game time at City. He wants to have a lot more starts. And in terms of starts in the Premier League, he's just never going to be their number one priority on the left wing or up front. It's just never going to be him. So I think he wants to go somewhere where he's fully trusted, and I don't think that's ever going to be at Man City.
How much? Obviously, they say they don't want to sell both, but every player has a price, surely. Like, how much would we have to drop for them to say, okay, maybe we'll let him go?
For both?
No, just for Marmoush.
Probably 60 to 70 million. Well, they signed him for big money, didn't they?
They signed him for 70 odd, didn't they? 75, wasn't it?
Probably what they paid, or just a little bit more, maybe 70 to 80 million. Around about that.
Yeah, surely if we put that money down, they go, you know what?
Because I don't think they're getting their money back from anyone else apart from us. I think we're the only ones that can give them money back. So even if they just get their money back, I think they'll take it.
Look, I really rate Omar Marmoush. I would love to have him at Tottenham. I think he's full of quality. I think he's got that little bit of star quality in around the box as well. He's got brilliant finishing ability from different angles, from outside the box as well. He can link the play. He can get assists. He can obviously play off the left. He's a good dribbler. He's quick. I do really, really like him. I do wonder why. I mean, I don't wonder, because obviously City have Cherki and Haaland, so when you've got two unbelievable players in those positions, and then you've got Doku off the left, I mean, it's always going to be a tall order to get into that team. So maybe that's why it just hasn't worked out for him at Man City. But I think he'd be a top signing for us. I really would. And if we can get him for 80 million, I mean, it's probably an overpayment. But if that convinces City to part ways and we get a player in the forward line as good as him, I think it'd be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Marmoush and I look at all the other players that we've been, really linked with in the forward line, and he's the one that's probably interested me the most. I agree. I really like him. When he first came to City, he was absolutely on fire, wasn't he? And, the season before he left City at Frankfurt, wow, what a player. So I think he's a player that De Zerbi will love. I think it's been said that De Zerbi does love him and really wants to bring him to Spurs. So I think we should do our best to try and bring both of them, Sabinho and Marmoush. You're talking about, if you want to bring both of them, you're looking at 130 million, 140 million for the pair.
Yeah.
Around about that price, which is crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy, but it's also not that crazy when you're just looking at this market that we're in, and the price. A lot of the players are being banned about for. A lot of players are going for. I mean, Marmoush is a really good attacker. I mean, I'm trying to think of prices that other, what's his name, Manzambi. He just went for 60 million. Yeah. Marmoush has done a hell of a lot more than Manzambi in his career, and for 20 extra million. Is that crazy? Or was the Manzambi deal crazy? That's what I'm saying. So it is when the face for 140 million for those two, it's like, what are we doing? But in this current market, it's actually just not that crazy considering the quality we're getting.
True. I would do it. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I just like the numbers being bandied about. Just not just for these, but for everyone in this market is just a bit nuts. There has been something that's just come out about Cuti Romero from Alfredo Padula saying that in addition to what Glongari has been reporting since July the 1st, we can reveal another detail. In the last few hours, Inter Milan have come significantly closer to an agreement both on the salary and on the add-ons, and on the commissions. The understanding with Tottenham was already in place. Now Inter is working on an exit to not lose the advantage accumulated and to preempt the competition.
That's a real word salad there. I mean, all these Italian sources all kind of together in the fact that they're trying to push this narrative is very, very close. Inter close with agreement. They're going to pay 40 million. The only issues personal terms or whatever. But it is coming from that side. So
Alfredo Padula was actually bang on all the way through about Tonali to Spurs.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
Okay. Look, I've never really seen him as like the most reliable Alfredo Padula, but fair enough. I mean, doesn't mean he's always wrong either. But yeah, I still find I'd much rather it was for more money. Obviously, whatever. At this point, it's gone on for so long. If it is into the 40 million, it is what it is. I'm not really that bothered at this point. But let's see. But I still think there's more to this story in terms of where he's going. I don't think Inter's the final destination. That's just the feeling I get.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. There was a report, I can't remember who it's from, I don't think it was a very reliable source, that saying that Atletico Madrid have entered the race, but there hasn't been any more on that. So look, we'll see. If they're close to agreeing personal terms, Romero and Inter Milan, and if the fee's already been agreed with Tottenham, then this one might happen pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, Tottenham only accept that fee if they're certain no one else wants him. So there'd have to be completely no other interest. So if that's the case, then we'll accept it.
Yeah. But they're talking about like 40 million euros.
Mm-hmm. It's mad.
Crazy.
Great deal for Inter.
Massively great deal. But, you're talking about in this current market of inflated prices, like even if it was like a normal market, that would be fairly low for Romero. Mm-hmm. Really low for Romero. But in this inflated market, it's just like...
I mean, we paid 45 for him. We're making a loss on him.
Yeah.
Which is insane. But, hey-ho.
I've actually just had some information on Mikey Moore, an exclusive from Haters, apparently.
From Haters?
Yeah. They've given us one before, and it was spot on. I think it was about one of our other young players. But they say German club Hamburg and Cologne and Championship side Middlesbrough are among those that are trying to sign Mikey Moore on loan right now. Oh. So it'll be interesting. I mean, would you prefer him to go to the Bundesliga or the Championship?
I think that's a tough one, because I think the Championship is very physically robust, so maybe that will maybe toughen him up a bit and maybe get him more ready for the Premier League. But I think the Bundesliga might platform his attacking skill set a lot better, so maybe he would he would gain more confidence being in a top 5 league like the Bundesliga and showing off his skill set there. So it's difficult. It's both have their strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, if he goes to Borough, he's going to be with his mate Langshire, so maybe that would help him settle in a bit.
So it actually says here a move abroad is being favoured at this stage.
I think I probably would go favour Germany, to be honest. I think I was probably just about leaning that way. I think if you get someone like Mikey Moore, really showing his talents, getting on the ball, creating goals and assists, and gaining that confidence that he can be a really good player in a top 5 league, I think he comes back to Tottenham full of that confidence. And I think we're probably more confident in him if he smashes out in the Bundesliga than if he smashes out in the Championship.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It'll be great to see him in the Bundesliga week in, week out, whether it be for Hamburg or Cologne. Obviously, Vuskovic, what he did in the Bundesliga last season, if Mikey Moore can kind of replicate that from the left wing or from the number 10, whichever position he plays, then you're talking about a player that's potentially ready to come into the team next season. All right, well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today.